So starting on the edge of a blanket or pillows, coming to crisscross seated position, or maybe soles of the feet together, or whatever feels best for you. Sitting up tall in the sit bones, so bringing the underneath one sit bone, just rocking back and forth a couple times. Doing the same thing with the other side, rocking back and forth. Just feeling the centeredness of the sit bones, working our way off of the tailbone. Drawing the shoulders up to the ears, rolling the shoulder blades together and down. Just a couple more times, rolling the shoulders up to the ears and back and down. And one last time, rolling them up and rolling them down. Feeling the length of the torso as the spine floats up energetically through the crown of the head and energy coming back down through the spine so that you are fully supported and strong. Bringing the hands in front of the heart, rubbing them back and forth, gazing down at your palms. Breathing in deeply. Exhaling completely. Feeling the warmth grow between the palms. Maybe even noticing some smoothness or dryness between the palms. And then with an inhale, place the palms over the eyes. Exhaling with a sigh. Draw the heels of the hands down to the chin and to the heart, resting the thumbs on the sternum, pressing the palms together. Into the seal of gratitude where we set our intention for practice. If you have a personal intention, perhaps stating that now. And welcoming a group intention. The group intention being a mantra, Sat Nam, spelled S-A-T-N-A-M, Sat Nam. Sat is an ancient sacred language of Gurmukhi. Sat symbolizes truth, Nam, identity. Truth is my identity. Truth is my essence. Sat Nam. As you pause here and focus on the two words, the sounds, Sat and Nam, connect it with your breath. So as you inhale, inhaling Sat, exhaling Nam. You can say it to yourself out loud or silently in your mind. Sat, feeling the internal energy rising and expanding in the body. Nam, coming into the expansiveness of your aura, or as science calls it, your electromagnetic field. Inhaling Sat, exhaling Nam. A couple more repetitions. And then we'll seal this intention in with a round of 3 ohms. Inhale deeply. Exhale with a sigh. And then inhale. And then drawing the hands to the lap, chin to the heart. Slowly blink the eyes open and gently lifting the gaze. Switching the feet, so if you have your right foot in front, reverse it with the left. You can wiggle out their legs in between. And coming back to the sit bones. And feeling the stability between the sit bones. The spine is still long, just like you started with. Crown of the head rises to the sky, but the gaze can shift downwards or even inwards with a silent gaze. Coming into some pelvic floor work to connect to the core. And when we connect physically to the core of our bodies, we begin to ignite that connection to the essence of who we are. So as you inhale, the expansiveness of the pelvic floor widens. And then as you exhale, the pelvic floor draws inwards, upwards to the navel, and the navel draws up to the heart. So there's a drawing into the body and then upwards. And then the inhale slowly softens and releases the belly, the pelvic floor, wide and expansive. And then the exhale, sit bones draw in, pubis bones to tailbone draw in, and upwards towards the navel, navel towards the heart. And then the inhale, the abdomen begins to soften, and slowly the pelvic floor begins to soften and open like a blossoming flower. And then again, exhale, the flower draws in and up towards the heart. And then the inhale, the flower opens and expands widely. And just keep moving at the pace of your breath. Moving with great control. Feeling a pull from the front to back as you draw in and up with the exhale. And feeling a release from the abdomen and the front to back of your body. So from the urethra all the way back to the anus, there's a release. A few more times. And then the next time you finish an inhale, letting that be your last one. Blink the eyes open if they've been closed, and roll the knees over to one side, lifting yourself up into hands and knees table pose. So you can have a blanket below the knees if you'd like. Wrists are as wide as the shoulders are wider, knees as wide as the hips or so, tops of the feet pressed down or toes tuck under, inner elbows gaze at one another. With the in-breath, returning back to the pelvic floor, sit bones widen, the collarbones broaden. And then in the exhale, pelvic floor draws in, drawing the navel towards the heart, rounding the spine in a cat-like pose. And then the inhale, the sit bones start to widen, the tailbone lifts up towards the sky, and the collarbones broaden, the gaze is forward to the floor. And the exhale will draw in and up. So allowing the exhale to initiate the movement, and then the movement comes from the sit bones to the tailbone, through the rib cage, through the collarbones, and finally the head. And just keep going at the pace of your breath. Maybe you move a little bit faster or slower than I'm cueing. It's all good. And complete the set that you're on. Returning back to tabletop pose, scooch the left knee in a little bit towards the right, and then exhale, pelvic floor in, navel in up to the heart, and press out through the right heel. So tucking the right toes under, press out through the right heel. Hips are square to the earth, so drawing up through the left hip, drawing down ever so slightly in the right hip. So you're feeling the abdomen drawing in and up here, strong abdomen. If you're pregnant, abs are hugging baby in towards the spine without a suction. That's it. From here, walk the right leg over towards the left side of the mat, pressing out through the right heel onto the ball of the big right toe, and gaze over your left shoulder to take a peek at your right foot. Full deep breaths, breathe into the right side body so you're creating a C shape with the spine. Inhale back to center. Press out through the right heel. And then bend the right knee, press the heel to the sky, keep the hips square, and gently pulse the heel to the sky about 5 times. Pulse, pulse, pulse. And then exhale, lower the knee down, swish the hips from side to side. Coming on to the other side, scooching the right knee in a little bit, extend out through the left heel, tuck the back toes under, feeling a stretch in the calf area. And then walking the left foot over to the right side of the mat onto the floor. Press out through the left big toe. Gaze over the right shoulder. Full deep breathing here, creating a big C shape with your spine. And then glide the left leg back to center. Press out through the heel again. And then press the sole of the foot up to the sky, bending the left knee, draw up through the right hip, draw down through the left, and about 5 pulses, heel to the sky. And then your exhale will lower the knee to the floor, swish the hips from side to side, roll on towards the heels, press down into the shins to lift up, circling the arms up to the sky. Reach up tall and then open the heart up to the sky. Collarbones are broad. A little baby back bend here. Draw the pelvic floor in and up, navel to the heart. Draw down through the tailbone. Full deep breaths. The gaze can be slightly lifted. Energy out through the fingertips. Exhale, sweep the hands down. Bring the hands forward on the mat through table. Step the right foot forward on the outside of the right hand. Scooch the left knee back behind you so that your feet are still about as wide as your hips or even wider. So lots of space for your body here. And this is where props can come in handy. Coming onto the blocks if you'd like to draw the shoulder blades together. Coming into some runner stretch. So drawing the hips forward but not dumping the hips forward. So there's still a draw back through the right hip and a draw forward through the left. So there's some stability in the pelvis. And then walking the hands back behind you, flexing the right foot if you'd like to take the toes off the floor, drawing the pinky toe towards the knee too, stretching out the back of the front leg. If you have a tendency to lock the knees or have hyperextension, have a softness, a buoyancy in the knees so that you're not locking out. And you can just walk back and forth at the pace of your breath, maybe one breath, one movement. Maybe you'd like to get an extra long stretch in the hamstrings. So you can stay there for multiple breaths if that feels useful. Just know that this is your time to explore and to be curious about what feels good for you. And then the next time the right knee is over the right ankle, all 4 corners of the right foot are easily on the floor. Energetically pull the front heel and back knee together, bringing the hands onto the right thigh. Sweep the arms back behind you. Thumbs can rest on your sacrum, the big bony part behind you, and you have a tight grip so the elbows are bent. Draw the elbows together so the collarbones are broad, and breathe into the back of the ribs. So we're not just pressing the heart forward. We're letting lots of space in the rib cage for your lungs to expand and take up more space. You're still getting a little bit of a back bend here. Keep pulling the front heel and back knee together, all the while tracking the right hip back and the left hip forward. So your hips are still working. They're in alignment. You're feeling a great stretch in the left hip flexor and feeling lots of strength in the front leg. If you'd like, you can extend the knuckles away from you. Full breathing wherever you go. And then big inhale. Exhale, sweeping the hands back around in the front onto the blocks or floor. Tuck the back toes under. Exhale, lift the back knee off the floor, coming into a high lunge. So little baby rock here to just feel what it feels like with the toes tucked under and the back heel lifted. The front leg, hips are probably working a lot. This is good stuff. Know that it won't be forever. And then come back into stillness, front knee is bent. Scooch the back foot forward and plant the foot on the floor so that you're still feeling a stretch in the calf area, bringing the hands onto the right thigh and sweeping the arms up to the sky, coming into goalpost arms. Collarbones are broad, palms face one another, shoulder blades draw together. So once again, breathing into the back ribs, so we're not just pressing the heart forward. Pelvic floor is drawn in and up, so if you're pregnant, baby's drawing in and up, tailbone towards the heels. And then your inhale or exhale, wait, where are we gonna go? We're gonna bring the hands in front and your inhale is gonna press away. So we'll do exhale, bend, inhale, we'll press away. Exhale, we'll bend, inhale, we'll press and open. And just moving at the pace of your breath. Big stretch in the back calf, Achilles area. Lots of strength in the front thigh. And the shoulder blades are doing all the work for the arms. And then coming in, opening the arms up. Take a deep breath here. Big exhale, turn to face the long edge of your mat. And so you can scooch any props off your mat out of the way. Toes are going to be out, heels are going to be in. Coming into a goddess type of squat, starting in a 5-pointed star. Full deep breath here. Feel your feet into the floor and pretend like we're in a brook of water. And we're going to put a big bend into the knees, so scoop the water up, this cleansing, nourishing water, and let it flow all over us. So the inhale, bending, knees over the arches of the feet, picking up the water, sweeping it up, and letting it cleanse. And just moving at the pace of your breath. Press down through the feet to come up. So pressing down into the heels, into the balls of the feet as you come up to standing so that you're powerful and strong. Maybe this water is clear and nourishing, and you're letting it soak and cleanse and nourish you. And doing one more big scoop. Opening up back to the 5-pointed star. Sweeping the hands down. Rolling the shoulder blades back. And then bringing a big bend into the knees once again. And draw the left shoulder in, gazing over the right shoulder. Inhale. Bring the right shoulder in, gazing over the left shoulder. Inhaling back out. Just going from side to side. Keep the knees over the feet so they're not turning in or rotating out too far. They're staying over the knees. Big open hips. Complete the set that you're on. And you'll come back into the squat. Bend the knees, plant the hands on the floor, pivot and open the toes so the toes are facing the long edge of the mat. If you'd like to have a pillow or a bolster or a block to rest your hands on, feel free. Bend the knees and straighten. So the head can be below the heart if you'd like, or you can be in flat back, bending the knees and straightening through the backs of the legs. So going at wherever feels useful to you. And about 2 more bends and straights. And then the next time you bend the knees, exhale, lower one knee down at a time, coming back through table, and turning back to the top of your mat, table pose. So now coming on to the left side. So stepping the left foot forward on the outside of the left hand. Scooching the back knee back. Feet are as wide as the hips or wider, lots of space for torso. And then rocking back and forth on this side. So walking the hands back, flexing the foot, watching out for any hyperextension or locking, and then walking forward. One breath will walk back, and one breath will walk forward. Or feel free to take multiple breaths in a position. See how you can draw the shoulder blades together and keep the spine long rather than rounding throughout the whole thing. So notice how you can open the heart a little bit more. And sometimes that means bringing the blocks up to a higher level. And the next time the left knee is bent, staying there, energetically pull the front heel and back knee towards one another, bringing the hands onto the left thigh and sweeping the arms up into the sky. Full deep breaths. And then circle the hands down to your sides. Hands can come onto the blocks, tuck the back toes under. Exhale, lift the back knee off the floor, returning back into the high lunge that we did on the other side. So rocking back and forth, pressing out through the back heel, drawing the front knee over the arch of the front foot. That's it. Just a few rocks here. And then the next time the left knee's over the arch of the left foot, exhale, plant the back foot on the floor, keep bending the front knee, sweeping the arms up, warrior one on the left. Goalpost arms. One breath straightens and one breath opens. And just moving at the pace of your breath like you did last time. Breathing into the back of the ribs. And the next time the left knee is bent, stay there, full deep breaths. Feel a stretch in the back calf, strengthen the front thigh. Big inhale. And exhale, sweep the arms around, step the back foot forward to meet the front at the top of the mat, Tadasana, mountain pose. So here we'll move any blocks out of the way or any props out of your mat, coming to the top of your mat in mountain pose. Feel the four corners of your feet rooting down. The base of the big toes, baby toes, inner and outer edges of the heels. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, sit back into an invisible chair. Forward fold, hands to the blocks or mats. Inhale to flat back. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, reverse swan dive, sweeping the arms around. Palms touch, threading to the heart. Coming into some flowy squats. Inhale, sweeping up. Sitting back into an invisible chair, going all the way down and maybe separating your feet even wider or bringing something in front of you to rest your hands on. Pressing down into the hands to lift the hips, coming through some bent knees, circling up to the sky, and then sitting back again. See if you can bring the hips below the knees, pressing down into the hands, feet to the earth, sweeping back up, and rolling and flowing at your own pace. You can even add a bonus challenge if it feels skillful today, of allowing the gaze to stay towards the earth or the eyes to even close as you move with great care and awareness. That's it. Couple more breaths. You've got it. And the next time you find your hips towards the heels, land gently all the way down onto the seat so you can bring your hands behind you and lowering the hips all the way down. From here, coming into a Z sit. So the left leg can come in, right leg is going to come behind you. And working to bring the sit bones on the earth. You might notice the right sit bone is more off of the earth. That's okay. If it really bothers you, you can take a folded blanket underneath the right sit bone. And especially if you feel like you're leaning over and can't, feel solid ground, then definitely put a folded blanket underneath the right sit bone. I'm going to move any props out of the way. We're going to use our arms, big extensions of ourselves, sweeping the right arm up and over and reaching out into the space all around us and circling around and reaching again with the left arm. So the left arm will pick off where the right arm ends, sweeping high to the sky. So you're going through this invisible layer of the aura, sweeping around, feeling the stretch and strength of the torso supporting you as you reach out beyond any limitations. And then once you've done this circle, flow in the opposite direction for about 3 more circles. So we're doing about 3 circles on each side. Reach and expand out through the sides of the body. Maybe you feel a stretch in like the lower back or the armpit area or the upper arms or maybe somewhere else. But this is stretching and strengthening at the same time. And once you finish your 3rd one, returning back to center and taking a deep breath in, big exhale out. One more time, big breath in, and let it go. We're going to come into our last really powerful work of the body, and especially the pelvic floor. So for this one, we're going to move very mindfully with great awareness and only moving as much as feels supported and capable in this moment. So we're not going to go above and beyond. That's going to stress the abdomen. So we're really going to take great care of the abdomen. So we're going to be breathing. Inhale, softens and relaxes, just like we started with. And then the exhale is where we get power to lift up and move. And we're moving from this Z sit. So I like to use my arms as leverage and support and as an invisible hug to bring more energy in. So arms are out into a T, palms kind of face one another once they get to that point. So there's going to be an inhale where there's a softening and groundedness that happens. The exhale, pelvic floor draws in and up, navel towards the heart. Press down into the shins to lift up. And then the inhale slowly opens and expands. And then the exhale, pelvic floor draws in, navel to the heart. So there's this drawing in and up with the inhale. And then the exhale, and then the inhale slowly starts to let go and release completely once you're down. So the exhale presses down to come up, and then the inhale will lower softly with great control and fully release. And how about one more on this side? Exhale, pelvic floor and navel to the heart, and then the body moves. So you're moving with the support and stability. And then the inhale slowly lets go and releases. Hands to the lap or your sides. Take another big in-breath and let it go. Bring your hands behind you. Extend the legs out in front of you, and feet can be as wide as the mat, and just windshield wiper the legs from side to side. And then coming onto the other side for the Z sit. So sitting up tall, right leg is going to come in front, left leg behind you, and feeling your sit bones underneath. Maybe this side, the left sit bone is up really high, so perhaps bring the blanket underneath so you feel strong and stable. We always want to start from stability of strength. And then inhale, we'll sweep the left arm up and over, reaching out through the sides of the body, expanding out in front of us, letting the fingertips glide along the earth, and the right hand is going to reach where the left hand reaches off, and then coming around again. So moving in 3 circles in this direction, taking time with your breath. The inhale will lift up and open, and the exhale will reach out in front. I think I have about 1 more circle here. And then begin to go in the opposite direction. Sweeping around, letting your fingertips glide along the earth. Expand out of your range. Take up more space. Be bold and mobile. I'm not sure if that was 2 or 3. I'm just going to add on 1 more just to be sure. So finishing up what you're on. And then returning to center. Taking a breath here. Big breath in. Big breath out. 1 more time. And release. So same thing as we did on the other side. The exhale will begin, then the body moves, and then the inhale at the bottom where we lower back down. So arms out, exhale, drawing pelvic floor in and up, navel in and up, press down into the shins, and then lowering back down. So the exhale draws in and up, and then the inhale releases completely and opens. And just doing a few more at the pace of your breath. And you're going to notice that you're more stable on one side more than the other. And that's the great practice of yoga, as we notice those synchronicities or imbalances, I guess, for lack of a better word, of our bodies, where one side can feel more stable and strong than the other. Which is why we practice, to notice those things. And last one. And opening out and down. Bringing the hands behind you. Windshield wipering the legs or bending the knees, rocking the knees from side to side. If you have a bolster handy, or even a pillow to lay down in front of you, feel free. So if you have a bolster, it's just going to go vertical in front of you. And the V that you're in can be shallow. It doesn't need to be super wide. We want, and you know your edge because you'll start to round in your low back rather than sitting up tall. So always starting by bringing the hands behind you so that you feel your sit bones below you. So your hands might stay behind you the whole time that we're doing this, and that's perfectly fine. Pressing out through the heels so the toes are drawing towards the knees. I like to floint my toes between a flex and a point. So the knees and the toes stay up to the sky the whole time. They're not going to rotate in. So we're getting an inner spiral out and the sit bones are rooted down. Any bend forward is hinging from the hips, not from the waist or like leaning forward. So it's all coming from the space where the hips and thighs meet. So even bringing your hands onto your thighs and feeling that space and pressing down to keep rooting the back of the thighs towards the earth. Heels stay on the earth too, so they don't lift off. So you can stay right here, breathe deeply through the long spine, feeling a great stretch in the back of the legs and inner thighs. If you'd like to do something else, you can start to make your hands more forward. I need to scooch and adjust. Taking a deep breath in and breath out. And here you can come onto your bolster or blocks or pillows, bringing your forearms onto your props. Being mindful not to just round down. So keep hinging from the hips. The shoulder blades continue to draw together. So the spine is long as we start our fold here. We're going to bow in and hang out in just a few moments. Couple more breaths here. Keep drawing the pinky toes back behind you. Knees are staying up to the sky. You're doing great. This is big work, big openness. And then a couple options. So if you're pretty flexible and stuff and you can just plop down and that feels comfortable, feel free to plop down. If you'd like to do something else, this actually feels quite comfortable, is having a bolster and having it propped down on the floor. Resting your forehead on the bolster. You can stay holding onto the bolster. Some people like that, it feels secure. Or you can have your hands onto the floor and just hang out here. So I'm giving all my weight onto the bolster. I know it looks funny and it looks like it wouldn't be comfortable, but it really releases around the neck and the shoulder area. So my head is just being supported by the bolster rather than my neck and shoulders carrying all the weight of my head. Keep drawing the knees up to the sky wherever you are, pointing or pressing out through the heels, but maintaining the heels connection to the earth and the thigh connection to the earth. Taking a deep breath in, big breath out. And making any adjustments at any time. You can be here for a few more moments. Breathing in deeply. Exhaling completely. And if you have the bolster underneath the forehead, using your hands around the bolster to stabilize it, lifting your head off, slowly lifting yourself up. If you fold it in, removing the props from in front of you, sitting up tall, bringing the hands around the knees, thighs, bringing the legs towards one another. But keep your feet about the distance of your sit bones, so pretty close, but not touching. Press out through the heels once again, point the toes, and then just relax the legs and shake them out. Let them go. Last seated thing. Press down through the hands into the floor or your fingertips into the ground. The shoulders stay away from the ears, so the elbows might bend if you have your fingertips into the ground. Press out through the heels. And sit up really tall. You can even use your hands as leverage without drawing the shoulders to the ears. So sitting up tall, creating more space between the rib cage and the hips. Breathe into the back of the ribs, so we're not pressing the chest forward. You might already feel a stretch in the back of the legs in this posture, staff pose, Dandasana. If you'd like to feel more of a stretch, start to walk your sit bones back behind you, but you're not really moving much at all. It's like millimeters. So you start to hinge from the hips and keep pressing the backs of the legs into the floor and maybe creating a bind with your hands around your shins, or you can use your peace fingers around the big toes or your hands wrap around the feet. And if wherever you have your bind, energetically pull your hands back behind you by drawing your elbows towards the sit bones. So the heart presses forward. Breathe into the back of the legs. This is the last big stretch before we start to wind down on our backs. And then walking the hands back up the legs, shaking them out. And then bringing the knees up to the sky, planting the feet on the floor. You can remove any props that might be behind you so that you have space to lie down on your mat. And you're finding the middle of the mat with your sit bones. Feet are as wide as your hips or wider, so you're strong and stable. And then lower one hand behind you, one forearm behind you at a time, lowering all the way down so the back is resting on the floor. And if you're pregnant, you can lay on the floor as long as you haven't been given any restrictions. The things you're noting for is shortness of breath, feeling dizzy, feeling nauseous, or the internal cue that you need to move. Simply roll over to one side and lift yourself up, and we'll meet you there in a few minutes. So otherwise, lowering slowly onto the earth. Drawing one knee, then the other towards your armpits, so lots of space in the middle of the torso. You can grab on to the outer edges of your feet or grab onto the backs of your thighs, drawing the knees in towards the armpits. This is happy baby pose. You can also bring your peace fingers around the big toes once again. Hands and arms are on the inside of the thighs. And happy babies move, so they rock from side to side. If that feels good for you too, go ahead and give your back a big massage. Uncurl the tailbone from the sky and rock side to side. Big back massage. Happy babies. And completing the set that you're on, returning back to center. Planting the soles of the feet on the floor. Feet are only as wide as the sit bones. Palms press next to the hips. Shoulder blades draw together to create a pillow for the heart. And you can rock your head from side to side so you have lots of mobility in the spine. With your in-breath, the pelvic floor softens and the navel softens. And then your out-breath, the pelvic floor draws in and up, navel to the heart, pressing down into the feet to lift the hips up. And they don't have to go up very high at all. The inhale, there's some pelvic floor softening. And then the exhale, pelvic floor draws back in, navel in and up, lowering the hips back down with the exhale. Inhale, soften into stillness. Release the pelvic floor and abdomen, the belly domes. And then as you exhale, pelvic floor draws in, navel in and up, lifting the hips up. Inhale, softening and stability. Exhale, pelvic floor draws in, navel to the heart, lowering the hips back down. And once you're down, the inhale takes space. And then the exhale, this is where you move. The inhale finds stillness. The exhale begins the movement again, lowering back down. One more time, the inhale softens into stillness. Exhale, pelvic floor and navel to the heart, lifting the hips up. Inhale, stillness. Exhale, pelvic floor draws in, navel to the heart, lowering back down. And the inhale, softening. From here, stretching one leg out at a time in a big pencil stretch. Take a deep breath in. Big breath out with a sigh. And then lowering the hands next to your hips. Planting the feet back on the floor, knees to the sky. Scooching the hips over to the right side of the mat. Rolling on to the left side. Using the strength of your hands and arms to lift yourself up into a seated position. We're going to come into a hip opener. So if you'd like, if you have the props to do this, you're going to grab 2 blocks and place them in an L. Bolster on top of the blocks. Otherwise, you can do this hip opener. It's the Day at the Beach hip opener. So you can do this without the bolster behind you and just cross over the right ankle behind you. Otherwise, you can scooch yourself back to the bolster, lay down onto the bolster. So you can kind of hang out here. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh, pressing your foot into an invisible wall. You can bring your right hand into your thigh so you're feeling a stretch in the outer hip area. Or just no hands on your legs. Maybe hands around your belly, maybe the floor. It's all good. If you're lying on the back on the bolster too, you can also do eagle arms. So left arm would go over the right, interlace your hands, drawing the elbows away from the heart and drawing the fingertips towards the wall behind you. Breathing in deeply, exhaling completely into whatever sensations you notice. And then slowly unwind if you have the bind, and then unwinding the legs and coming on to the other side. So crossing the left ankle over the right thigh, maybe pressing the left hand into the left leg, and making any adjustments that would feel useful on this side. And if you are lying on the bolster, so the right arm would go over the left arm this time for eagle arms. Feeling a stretch between the shoulder blades for eagle arms. Opening of the heart at the same time, so collarbones stay broad. And undoing the bind, if you have the bind with your arms, slowly uncrossing your legs, stretching out in any kind of way that would feel useful, and using the strength of your hands and arms to lift up. Coming into a seat. And we're going to be in this seat for just a few breaths or a couple minutes. Sitting up tall and long. So in this seat, feeling your sit bones, allowing your gaze to blink so that your eyes may look down or even close. Using a count of 4, slowly count to 4 on an inhale, and just as slowly count to 6 on an exhale. For instance, inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And continue in that format at the pace of your breath. So the inhale will be slightly shorter and the exhale slightly longer than the inhale. Feel the breath right up the spine with the inhale through the crown of the head and drop back down through the back of the neck, through the shoulder blades, all the way towards the sit bones and the pelvic floor as you exhale out completely. So this breath is still purposeful and deep. There's effort behind it. A sense of ease to maintain this breath. Keep going. You've got it. About 2 more rounds, counting to 4 with an inhale, 6 with an exhale. And then after the 2 rounds, return to your natural breath, letting the natural inhale take place and the effortless exhale take place. It's just automatic. You might feel some residual effects of the breathing exercise, and allowing that to be, knowing you're in full control of your breath. And draw the chin down towards the heart, rolling the right ear to the right shoulder, and circling the chin back down, and rolling the left ear to the left shoulder, and circling the chin back down. Inhaling, right ear to right shoulder. Exhale, circles back down. Inhaling, left ear to left shoulder. Exhale, circling back down. And one more time on each side, feeling the length in the sides of the neck. And the next time the chin is to the heart, slowly lift the chin back to parallel to the earth. Blinking the eyes open and lifting the gaze. So now we're going to prepare for Shavasana, a restful pose. And in Shavasana, there will be a lengthy body scan before the time of silence for rest. So know that you want to be in a position that's going to be useful and beneficial for you to be in it long term. And I'll cue you after the body scan to move if you'd like to move again. But you always have the freedom to move at any time. You're in control of you. So if you like, you can be lying on the back on a supported bolster. You can lie on your back on the mat. I'm going to stay seated so that I can guide you through the body scan and hold space for that and the Shavasana practice. So go ahead and go wherever feels useful for you, and maybe even sitting against a wall is the most useful spot for you for Shavasana. So you can cover yourself up with a blanket if you'd like. So making your way into your Shavasana, where you will be comfortably warm as you invite stillness in. Noticing any changes that you'd like to make already in the position that you've chosen. And having the freedom to make those changes. Feel your body lying on the floor. Feel the support of the earth and the props below you. And maybe above you if you have a blanket or eye pillows resting on you. If you're lying on the back, feeling the back of your head resting into the earth, and perhaps rocking your head from side to side, finding the sweet spot to return back to stillness. Feeling the arch of the neck off of the earth, and the shoulder blades touching the earth. Noticing the upper arms, the elbows, the inner and outer elbows, the forearms, wrists, hands, fingers. Letting all those spaces release and let go. Bringing the attention to this face, to the space where the hair and the forehead meet. That sweet line from the center of the face around to each ear, and letting the ears soften. Softening the space between the eyebrows, the cheeks, depressing the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Swallowing. Letting the breath be its natural state. Notice how the heart is soft and open, and the ribs melt into the earth and the back of the body. The abdomen are soft. The pelvic floor releases. The upper glutes and the lower glutes are supported by the earth. Feeling the thighs, the backs of the legs, the tops of the thighs, the kneecaps and the space behind the knees. The calves, shins, the ankles, heels, the tops of the feet, the soles of the feet, to the toes. Notice all the points of your body that are touching and being supported by the earth. Notice the parts of your body that aren't touching the earth or props below you. And if you'd like extra support under any parts of those that are not touching something that is supportive. So making any adjustments now to be even more supportive, maybe folding up another blanket underneath the knees, or to be a pillow for your head and the space behind your neck. Maybe blankets or pillows underneath your hands. Returning back to noticing all the points of your body touching something supportive. And noticing the points and parts of your body that don't need support, that are buoyant, they arch, they curl. Maybe it's not necessary. Feel your whole body soften and let go of extra muscular tension. Take a deep breath in and let it go even more. Now, from the toes, begin to wrap yourself in a blue light. This blue light is calming. This blue light is intuitive. Feel this blue light. See it in your mind's eye, wrapping around, extending all around your aura, starting about 3 feet away from your feet. And it's slowly encompassing you in a cloud of blue up your legs, around your torso, arms, wrapping all the way up to the shoulder blades, to the crown of the head. From the front to back and the sides of your body, you're enveloped in this blue intuition to connect with the universal flow, that you have the ability to flow and to remain calm with yourself and with others. Let this blue light stay with you and be layered. Be layered of a light of gold. So now a gold light is supporting and surrounding you. Once again, starting at the feet, wrapping around like a giant hug. This gold symbolizes wisdom, self-understanding, and strength. Feel this gold light wrapping around from toes to the crown of the head, of calmness, of wisdom, and strength. And one last layer wrapping around of white light. This white light is purifying, protective, and peaceful. Envision this white light layered on top of the gold, and the gold on top of the blue. These 3 layers of light can even intertwine with one another and support you in your being, fully wrapped in white, gold, and blue. If you'd like to make any changes in your position for resting Shavasana, feel free to do that now. And allowing yourself to rest here, wrapped in wisdom, strength, and peace. Returning your attention to the body lying on the floor. This peaceful, and gentle space that you've created. Noticing the breath. And feeling the softness of the breath and allowing it to gently become slightly stronger. Grazing the thumbs over the finger pads, wiggling the toes, rotating the wrists and ankles, allowing the breath to flow and to move the body and stretch out in any kind of way that would be useful for you. And if you've been lying on your back, bringing a bend into the knees, rolling over onto one side, using the strength of your hands and arms to lift up into a seated position. And once you come into a seat, keeping the gaze towards the earth or allowing the eyes to close, noticing how it feels to sit now. How the energy in you feels. And the vibration around you. Returning hands to heart center, to the seal of gratitude. First, giving yourself thankfulness for showing up for you. And that you showing up for you benefits everyone whom you come into contact with. That this is important work. And then search for one more thing that you're grateful for. When you have sense of the gratitude, connect it down into the heart. Thank you for being here, for yourself, for your loved ones, and for the greater good. Until we meet again, Sat Nam.